This isn't going to be a live that gives you 5 things to fix your life. And you're not here because you're lazy or you're sitting in some kind of brokenness because you're not broke. You're here because something feels, well, off, just a little off. And even if you can't name it, you're not quite sure what it is. You're not quite sure what this uneasiness that you're feeling, you're not wrong for feeling it. And so I am thrilled and I am glad that you showed up here today. And if you have a long enough break time, I want you to stay the whole time because this is important. And I want to take you through something. I want to take you on a journey with me. And I am so thrilled to be able to do this with you today. Now, that quiet unrest that follows you all day, do you feel it and you're not quite sure what it is? That nagging feeling that you're you're just not okay. Things aren't okay and you can't just put your finger on it. And you can't explain why. You're not sure why it is that you feel this way. And you're still showing up, still doing the things, but something in you is actually pulling back. And so I want to make sure before we get started that you actually can hear me and that we are all right on camera because this is so important. And what it is that you're searching for, I want to name for you. It's the craving for clarity and the fear that maybe there's something wrong, that something is wrong with you for not having that clarity, not knowing where you're going, what it is that you want, who you are, not being sure and not resting in that surety. And so we're not here to fix that all. I'm not here with you to fix that all. And I know you don't have the time for me to fix that all. But what we're here to do is to interrupt that fog, to slow things down enough for you to start hearing your own wisdom again. Because you have it, you know it, but you're beginning to doubt yourself. And this is a space to practice honesty because it used to be a part of who we were, but there has been so much doubt and questions that have infiltrated and come in that now you're questioning your honesty. And so we're going to practice it today with no shame, none at all. And you don't need a whole plan, just a starting point. And I am your starting point. So if you don't have to fix it today, which we don't, and I've already talked about, what would you let yourself feel? What would you feel? Just knowing that, hey, I have that peace of not fixing it today. So you don't always know what's off. And there'll be pauses in here because I want to give you time to think, to comment if you want to comment, if you feel led. But you don't always know what's off. But you do feel that discomfort and that offness. And this is about validating, things like symptoms like you keep switching tabs, switching thoughts, but nothing really satisfies. It's kind of like when you're hungry for something and you're not quite sure what you're hungry for. And so you keep tasting these things or you keep getting these. You go to McDonald's, you get a hamburger, you go home, you get a salad, you get a cinnamon bun, and nothing quite hit the spot, what you're looking for. And that's what I'm talking about. So you eat, but what you're eating is not what actually fills that hunger that's inside of you. And so you sit down to work and your brilliance just feels out of right. You know you're creative. You know that in the right circumstances, in the right mindset, that you can pull this out. You know it's in you. And it's like you can see the edge of your thoughts. They're there, but you can't seem to pull them close. You can't seem to rein them in. It's like, I know this, but you can't get to it. Or things like you start something and you stop. You try again, you sigh, and that cycle repeats. You start it, you stop. You try again. You start it, you stop. You try again, and you're not getting anywhere. And you keep telling yourself, just focus. Come on, push through. You got this. I've seen you do it before. I know you can do it. You got this. And you're talking to yourself. This isn't you. Where you're sitting right now is not you, and you know better. You've done more with less. So, what's the problem? Why can't I make it through this? But all those tactics, the to do list, the positive self talk, the journaling, your playlist to get you in the mood, get you piped or hyped, they're not working. None of them. And you don't want to admit it, because what does that say about you? What does that say about that person who can't get it together? That person who's not herself? Oh, girlfriend, I thought you had it together, right? And this isn't about, it really isn't about discipline or motivation or how much sleep you got last night, even though those things do affect you some, right? But this is about misalignment. Your system is trying to tell you something, but when you won't listen, it starts with a whisper. Hey, yo, girl, over here. And then it hums, gets a little louder, a little irritating, kind of like that bee flying around your ear, right? If it's a bee, it ain't flying around my ear because I'm out of here. And eventually it starts yelling. And what does that yelling sound like or feel like? That's your exhaustion. That's your avoidance. That's your confusion. Not because you're weak or fractured, but because you're out of sync. And if your body and mind are trying to get your attention, what have they been trying to say? It's time to listen. It's time to really hear what your body is saying to you. So let's take a deep breath right here, because I want you with me, because I need you to know that recalibration doesn't require clarity. Not at first. And forgive me if you can hear some noise in the background, but that's the guys doing some work outside. Most of us have been taught that clarity comes before we can move. We need to be clear on this before we take action on it, right? Wrong. We think that we have to have the full diagnosis, know where we're going before we can even begin to heal. Wrong. It's not true, girl. You don't need all the answers all up in here to begin that reset. You just need honesty, real honesty with yourself, and a willingness to search it out. That's it. You've been trying to push through this fog by thinking harder, doing harder, but what if it isn't a thinking session? What if that isn't it? What if it's a sensing? Did you hear me? What if it's a sensing session? I want you to start noticing because we're going to walk this out right here in this session. I want you to start noticing what in my body feels right now. What is your body feeling right now? Forget about what feels right. What is it feeling right now? Is there tension that you've been ignoring? Is there a tightness up here? Does your neck feel heavy, too heavy to hold your head? Is there a tightness in your chest? And then what are you pretending not to know? And look, if you have a book or some paper right near you, go ahead, write it down. These are important things for you to be aware of. So, what are you pretending not to know right now? And if you can't stay with me this whole time, I want you to come back because these questions are important. So now tell me. It's about asking different questions. What would feel good right now, even if just for 5 minutes? What would feel good to you right now, if even for 5 minutes? That's all I'm asking. And I don't need an answer today, but I want you to think about these questions. And if you're bold, write them in the comments. I just want you to be present. I want you to take that pause for a moment. And if you are a woman of faith, I want you to just sit in his presence right now. This isn't about fixing. How many times do I need to say that? It's about feeling again. And sometimes that first sign of healing is when you can tell the truth about your own exhaustion without shame. When you can let go of the tightness and let your shoulders relax. Peace doesn't only come after you figure things out. I want to tell you that right now. Sometimes it comes first. Sometimes peace is the clarity. Did you get that? When you start showing up for yourself in these small, honest ways, something shifts. Not always overnight, but consistently. You begin to move from the fog to the felt, from spinning to steady. Recalibrating isn't an event. Don't get me wrong, it's a posture. And every time that you choose truth over performance, presence over pretending, you recalibrate a little more. And you're probably watching this and saying, where is she going with this? I'm doing this because I know it's needed. And all I'm asking is that you take the time to sit with me today. So if you're in that space where you don't have the words yet, where nothing is sitting right, and you're just tired of trying so hard, this is where we begin. Because you know you're in the right place. And we begin with honesty. And it isn't easy. With noticing. And that's part of honesty. And with asking the questions. Because clarity cannot be forced, but it can be invited. And that's why we're here today, to invite the clarity. Again, in case you missed it, you don't need to fix anything right now. But you do need to ask different questions. Because the questions that you've been asking, they've actually been fueling your overwhelm. You didn't know that, did you? You see, what you're probably doing right now is saying, why can't I figure this out? What's wrong with me? Why do I feel so off when nothing seems wrong? And is it me? Or is it them? Or is it everything? And do you see how those questions are actually fueling your overwhelm? Because they're asking you to find the answer, that urgency. But those are fear questions, shame questions. They don't lead you to truth. They loop you back into confusion. And we're not doing that today. Mm-mm. Not on my watch. These are not answers. What we're getting ready to deal with are reflections. These are gentle disruptions for that fog that you're finding yourself in. So I'm going to offer you new questions. And one, again, I hope you write down or you come back to later. And so, what's one thing you're asking yourself? What's one thing that I've been pretending is fine that actually doesn't feel fine anymore? I'm not saying that it wasn't fine at one time. I'm saying that it doesn't feel fine anymore. Then ask yourself, what part of my life feels heavy? And am I still supposed to feel and carry that burden? Is it yours to even carry? Or are you carrying someone else's burden? And then ask yourself, when did I last feel fully, 100%, even 80% myself, in tune to who I am? And what was the difference then? That's really important. What did that feel like? What did being yourself feel like here, here, and here? What do I need to keep saying yes to? Or what do I keep saying yes to that no longer fits? So why do you keep saying yes? What is making you say yes, even though your soul is screaming, your heart is screaming no? And where have I been hoping someone else would give me permission to stop? You see the difference in those questions? You see that those are not questions to feed your overwhelm. And here's something I want to say. For today, you don't need to answer all of them. You just need to hold on to these questions and keep these questions. You don't even need perfect answers because there are none. You just need true ones. We're back to the honesty. So I want you to just pick one question and I want you to sit with it. Maybe even say it aloud. Maybe journal about it. Maybe put it in the comments. Whatever works for you. And these kind of questions don't lead you to more pretending. They lead you to presence, to being there 100% with yourself. And when you ask different questions, your nervous system settles. Your heart gets a say in this. And sometimes the right questions unlock something that you don't even know is buried. That's the purpose of these questions. And this isn't about control. It's about connection to yourself, to your truth. And if you believe, to God. The point, again, isn't to fix, it's to feel. And so now that you've asked the questions, now that you've touched that quiet part of yourself that's still in there, hello. What happens next matters. Let's talk about what to do when there's no immediate clarity, no immediate relief. Let's talk about how to stay with yourself anyway. Okay. So now you've slowed down, you've been with me through this, and you've asked something real. But maybe no clarity came for you. It happens. Nothing dramatic. The sky didn't fall out of the ceiling or whatever. Just that same quiet fog. All right. So what now? I want you to know just because you didn't get an answer right now doesn't mean there was no progress. There's a discomfort with not knowing, and I get that. You feel things like frustrated, defeated. I thought this was supposed to work. Why did I not get the answers? Like you did something wrong, or you're just not right, or it doesn't work for you, or you're not that person, or that you should be able to hear. You should be able to hear something, see something, do something different, and it's not there. But clarity, it doesn't always speak in lightning bolts. Sometimes it whispers. And sometimes it takes its time. But the waiting, it's not wasted. Name what you're feeling without trying to solve it. Things like, this feels like fog, like pressure, like sadness that I don't even have the words for it. I don't know what to say. If someone asked me right now, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? You wouldn't even know what to say. I'm telling you, get out of your head. Get out of your head and into your body. Put your hand on your chest. Breathe deep. Remind yourself, I'm safe. even in this honesty, in this place, in this seeking, I'm safe. It's okay to be here. Write down the question. Close the notebook and walk away. Not for me right now, but walk away. Sometimes your soul answers when you're fine, when your mind finally rests. Have you ever been on a walk outside in a different environment, in a different place, just standing there, but you're allowing your mind to rest and you finally get some type of clarity, some type of answers? Let your prayer or your pause just be. You don't need eloquence. You need honesty. The goal is not to get the answers today. That's not our goal. And that's not why I'm here. The goal is to learn to stay with yourself long enough that when the answer comes, you're still there to receive it. I want you to be there in the right space to hear it. And so, what if the clarity that you're waiting on isn't the next step? What? Are you serious? I'm serious. What if the clarity that you're waiting on isn't the next step? What if the clarity really is that you're allowed to rest before the next step comes? Wow. You're allowed to rest before the next step comes. Or maybe you don't have to see the whole path. You just have to stay with the part of you that's still searching. That's where the recalibration begins. So, hang in there with me just a little longer. Here's what I want to leave you with. You're not sitting in brokenness because you don't know. You're not behind because it hasn't clicked yet. You are in process. And the process is special, even when it's silent. So let's talk about how to keep creating space for the real answers to rise, because that's what you want. I want to know, how do I get to the answers and how you don't have to do it alone? Let me say this. If you're walking away from this live today, still unsure, that's okay. It really is. The fog doesn't clear just because someone handed you a flashlight. Have you ever put high beams on in a fog? I have. It gets even more unclear because your light is reflecting back in your face. And now you really can't see. You need the low beams, right? Sometimes the fog that we're talking about lifts because you keep walking through it. And so, have you ever walked through a fog? You can't see far, but you can see one step in front of you. Just right in front of you, where you need to see to keep going. And look, you stayed. You stayed with me today. You paused. You told the truth, even if not to me, to yourself. And that's the beginning of recalibration. And you might feel the pull to go journal like a maniac. Oh man, I've got so much to say. There's so much that hit me, or trying to figure it out right now. You might open 3 tabs and try to analyze what's wrong with me. What chat GPT can I go to? What Google can I look up? What question can I put and look for? Don't. Yeah, you heard me. Don't. This isn't about rushing into action. That's what got you here in the first place. It's about staying connected to yourself without pretending for an answer, without performing to an answer for an answer. And you don't need to go do something, no matter how hard you want to. I get that. I am a doer. I am an action taker. My first reaction is to find a solution to do. But sometimes we just sit. We sit with it. And we let this sit. And we ruminate on it. I love that word. If you need someone to sit with you in all of this, DM me, hit my inbox. You don't have to know the right words. Just show up honest. And we can start there. You'll find this live replay right here where you're watching it, along with a few prompts that might help you start that recalibration in yourself and in a deeper way. And look, if you are ready to go deeper, if you want help, if you want to go deeper into how misalignment shows up for you and what sustainability really looks like for you, I want you to listen. I want you to listen to what you wrote and what you're saying. And you know what? I'm waiting for you. If it'll help, go listen to my last podcast, Unlearning Stress with Mischelle. I need you to hear this. Just because you haven't figured it out doesn't mean that you're failing. And I know you heard that before, but I want you to hear it here, not here. Confusion is not a sign of weakness. It's an invitation for you to reconnect. And I promise you, clarity will come, but not because you wrestled it out of yourself. It isn't coming that way. It'll come because you stayed close and honest and open to what's real. I want you to know that you're not behind. You're human. I'm human. We have frailties. And that means that the recalibration is allowed to take time, and that you take that time. Because you know what? You're worth that time. Until next time, I want to thank you for being here with me. I want you to I want to thank you for taking the time to be with yourself. And if this was helpful, please let me know. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.